There's a moment, before words, before breath, before your first heartbeat, when you are a whisper becoming flesh. The Hebrew poet who wrote Psalm 139 uses this word rakab, to knit, to embroider, to weave with intricate, deliberate artistry. Not assembly line production, embroidery. Welcome to Living on a Prayer. I'm so glad you're here. Today we're slowing down with Psalm 139, verses 13 through 16, a passage titled, Wonderfully Made with Divine Purpose. And I want to spend these 10 minutes not racing toward application, but actually sitting with what it means that you were embroidered into existence. Because most of us intellectually agree we're fearfully and wonderfully made, but we don't actually believe it. Not in our bones, not when we look in the mirror, not when we see what everyone else is accomplishing. So let's just breathe into this text for a bit. Verse 13, For you created my inmost being. You knit me together in my mother's womb. Start there. Your inmost being. Not your resume, not your social skills or lack thereof, not the parts of you that make sense to other people. The Hebrew word is kilia, literally your kidneys, but metaphorically, the seat of your deepest emotions, your hidden self, the you that you are when no one's watching. God didn't just form your body. God created the core of who you are, your desires, your quirks, the way your mind makes unexpected connections, the specific timbre of your laugh. Before anyone could tell you who to be, you already were. Someone once told me they felt like a rough draft of a person, like God got distracted halfway through creating them and moved on to more important projects. But this text won't allow that. You knit me together, active, intentional, continuous action. Every stitch deliberate. Verse 14, I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well. Now this is where it gets uncomfortable, because the psalmist isn't just saying, God makes wonderful things in general. He's saying, this specific person, with this specific body and brain and temperament, I am wonderful. When's the last time you said that about yourself without immediately qualifying it? I'm wonderfully made, but I really need to lose 15 pounds. I'm wonderfully made, except for my anxiety disorder. I'm wonderfully made, but if I were really wonderful, I'd be further along by now. The word fearfully here, Nora, means awe-inspiring, worthy of reverence. You know how you feel when you stand at the edge of the Grand Canyon or watch the ocean during a storm? That intake of breath, that sense of, this is bigger than me. That's how you're supposed to feel about your own existence. Not pride, awe. There's a difference. Let's sit with verse 15 for a minute. My frame was not hidden from you when I was made in the secret place, when I was woven together in the depths of the earth. The secret place, the hidden place, the depths. There's mystery here. The psalmist is reaching for language to describe something that happens outside of human observation. Your formation wasn't a public event. It wasn't documented or live-streamed or reviewed. It happened in utter privacy, in darkness, in silence. Just you and God. And here's what strikes me. Nothing about you was hidden from God in that process. Not the things that would later make you feel defective. Not the ways you'd be different from what your parents expected. Not the chronic illness or the learning disability or the gender identity that doesn't fit neatly into boxes. My frame was not hidden from you. God saw it all from the beginning and said, yes, this one, exactly like this. Now, verse 16, and this is where it gets wild. Your eyes saw my unformed body. All the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be. All your days. Not just the good ones. Not just the days when you feel close to God or accomplish something meaningful. All of them. The Tuesday afternoon when you're 34 and stuck in traffic and wondering if this is all there is. The morning you wake up after the miscarriage. The decade you spend in a job that slowly crushes your spirit. The years when prayer feels like talking to the ceiling. Those days were written too. And I don't think this means God micromanages every detail, or that everything happens for a reason in some cosmic chess game. But I do think it means your life has coherence. There's a narrative arc that makes sense to God, even when it doesn't make sense to you yet. You're not random. You're not an accident. You're not a cosmic shrug. Here's a story. My friend Sarah is a visual artist, really talented, the kind of person who sees color and composition everywhere. But she spent 15 years in corporate marketing because that's what paid the bills, what seemed responsible, what her family understood. And every performance review would say things like, needs to be more detail-oriented, and struggles with linear thinking. She felt defective, like she was failing at being a normal, functional adult. It wasn't until she was 38 that someone said to her, "You're not bad at this job because there's something wrong with you. You're bad at this job because you were made for something else." All those years, she'd been trying to fix herself into fitting a role she was never designed for. When she finally started painting full-time, it wasn't that life got easier, but it got coherent. The way her brain works, the lateral leaps, the obsession with light and shadow, suddenly made sense. She wasn't defective. She was embroidered for a specific purpose, and she'd been ignoring the pattern. So what does it mean to live like you actually believe you're wonderfully made? I think it starts with paying attention to what you were embroidered with. Not what you wish you had, not what everyone else seems to have, but what's actually there. Maybe you're the person who notices when someone's struggling before they say a word. Maybe you have this stubborn resilience that keeps showing up even when you don't feel particularly strong. Maybe you're funny in a way that disarms people's defenses. Maybe you think in systems and patterns. Maybe you feel music in your body. These aren't random traits, they're threads in the embroidery. And the question isn't, how do I fix the parts of me that don't match the pattern I think I should have? The question is, what was I designed to do that only I can do in exactly this way? Because your worth isn't dependent on being like everyone else. Your worth is inherent in being exactly who you were made to be. But let's be honest about the hard part. Some of us were embroidered with chronic pain, with neurodivergence in a world built for neurotypical people, with a body that doesn't match our sense of self, with a sexual orientation that got us rejected by our faith community. And it feels cruel to say, you're wonderfully made, when so much of your existence is suffering or marginalization or fighting to be seen as fully human. I don't have a neat answer for that. I don't think the psalmist is saying everything about your life is wonderful, so just be grateful. I think he's saying your existence itself, the fact that you are here, that you are you, has inherent worth that no one can take away. Even in the suffering, even in the parts that feel broken, you are not a mistake. The world's failure to make space for you doesn't diminish the intentionality of your creation. This is the tension we have to hold. Life is hard and often unfair, and you are still, against all odds, wonderfully made. What changes when you start to believe this, really believe it, is how you move through the world. You stop apologizing for taking up space. You stop trying to contort yourself into shapes that were never meant to fit you. You give yourself permission to pursue the things you are actually designed for, even if they don't make sense to anyone else. You stop measuring your worth by productivity or achievement or how many people understand you. You start treating yourself with the same reverence you'd show any work of art, because that's what you are. Not a mass-produced item, not a rough draft, not a mistake that needs fixing, a deliberate, intricate, one-of-a-kind piece of divine embroidery. And the world needs what you were made to bring. Not some polished, acceptable version of you. You. Exactly as you are knit together in the secret place. Before we close, if this conversation has meant something to you, would you take a second to subscribe to the channel and leave a comment? I'd love to know what part of this passage you're wrestling with or what you're learning about how you were made. All right, let's finish here. Close your eyes if you're in a place where you can. Take a breath and just sit for a moment with this truth. You are fearfully and wonderfully made, not as a cliche, as a fact. The person you are right now, with all your contradictions and complexities and quirks, that person was intentionally created with divine purpose. You don't have to earn that. You don't have to prove that. You just have to believe it, and then live like it's true. God, help us actually believe what we say we believe about ourselves. Help us see ourselves the way you saw us in the secret place, before the world told us who we should be. Give us courage to live into the fullness of who we were made to be, even when it's scary, even when it doesn't make sense. We are your workmanship, your embroidery, your art. May we honor that today. Amen. Thanks for spending this time with me. May the Lord bless and keep you.